Hey guys, so yesterday in my video, bear with me really quick though, I will probably cough on and off. I've been sick for like 3 weeks now, on and off. I was sick for like a week, did okay, and now I've been sick again. Like my roommate and I both. I don't know what's going on, but we feel like crap and we've been coughing a lot. See what I mean? And so this may go on. Yesterday in my video, I said that I would make a video about my mom in Seneca to kind of just answer questions that I've gotten on Tumblr about what happened, or just kind of, I know a lot of people have kind of been like asking me how I am, and I haven't really answered anyone. I've kind of just stuck to myself on Tumblr and in real life. Like I haven't really said much. I don't really like talking about it, and it's not I can talk about Seneca, but I can't talk about my mom. It's like as much sometimes. It's just I don't know I don't know if you would consider that like still in denial, and I probably am partially still in denial or what have you, but it's just really weird for me. So well, I guess we'll just get to it. The last time I saw my mom was on New Year's. I had gotten dressed up, went out, bar hopped, and then I dropped a friend off, and I had to drive back past the casino. So I went and stopped and saw her because she wanted to see me, because I told her I had gotten dressed up, and I kind of looked like a hooker. And, that was it. And I went and saw her, and we were on really good terms. We hadn't been fighting. We had actually been talking about my move to Salt Lake, because I was supposed to originally move like February 7th. And so we just talked about that, and I walked out the room, and the poker room, said I love you. She said she loved me back, and that was it. I called her several times, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and didn't get an answer. And I called her like 5 times each day, and I knew something was going on, because she will always call me back. She would always call me back, like no matter what. So I found it really weird that she wouldn't even call me. And so I went to work Thursday, and that night I had planned on stopping by her house, because I was working like overtime at my job, and we had unlimited overtime, so we would work like 10 plus hours. And I was working so much overtime, like I didn't have the time to see her that week. And when I did kind of have the opportunity, I dropped my friend Colby off to his house, and he lives in Seneca, Missouri, and she lived like Joplin, Loma Linda. It's not that far from each other, and his house especially isn't that far. Or no, he didn't live in Seneca. Sorry. Okay, he lived like out by Seneca. Anyways, so I went and dropped him off, and I drove by like the exit to her house, but I ignored it because I figured she was supposed to work Wednesday nights, so there was really no point in stopping by her house. And it is probably one of the things that I feel so guilty about, is not stopping by and saying hi, even though I did not know any different. And I know she wouldn't want me to feel like that. But fast forward to Thursday night, I'm on my second break at work, and I have a missed call and a missed text from her coworker Chris, and he's a poker dealer / he does floor, like a supervisor. And he told me that my mom didn't show up Wednesday, and she was a no call, no show. And I told her, and he told me that she was a no call, no show, and not to panic, just to go check on her. And in that moment, like, my heart just started racing, and so many things like flooded my mind. And I called her best friend Rochelle, who lived in Springfield but is also a dealer. I called my dad, and nobody had heard from her. So I left work. Like, I went and told Colby I was leaving work, and like I remember just breaking down and bawling, because deep down inside I think I knew. And like it was probably like the first time, like Colby always jokes and tells me I'm always smiling, and that it's hard for me to ever frown. And it's probably like the first time that he's ever seen me like not be even mildly okay. Like I just bawled, and he said, well, it's okay, just call me when you get there, or text me, like tell me what's going on. So I called my best friend Jaylee. And while I was driving out there, we called 2 of the hospitals in Springfield because apparently she was supposed to have a doctor's appointment that Tuesday morning. And she had never, we found out later on she had never made it there. I drove out to her house. And when I did, I got there was another poker dealer, Destiny, who was there. And I guess Rochelle called her and told her to meet me there so I didn't have to be there alone. And when I got there, her car was there and the lights were on, and I just immediately knew with everything in me that I had lost my mom and that was the end. And she asked me for the keys, and she went in there with her husband, and she came back out, and I heard her on the phone with 911, and she said that she wasn't breathing. And I flipped out. I just kind of dropped to the ground. I remember throwing my phone. It just plays in my head like a movie. Like, it doesn't even seem real sometimes. And I just flipped out. Like, I called Jaylee. I called my best friend Andrea. I called my roommate Stephanie. And then I called my dad. And I told him that she was dead. And, that was it. Like, because at first I told him, well, they're calling 911, and he said, well, maybe she'll be okay. And I yelled at him, and I was just like, no, she's dead, Daddy, she's dead. Like, you don't understand. And I hung up the phone. And then I would call him, like, every 5-10 minutes and be like, I'm so sorry. And I just apologized. And he said, it's okay, I'm almost there. And, like, that would be it. But I just freaked out. So, once the ambulance got there, I think it kind of hit me that she was gone because they weren't taking her out. They started asking about funeral homes, and I said, I don't know. I gave Destiny my dad's number, and I said, you talk to him. I can't pick a funeral home. I'm not from this area. I mean, my dad wasn't either, but I couldn't process it, and so I just went back home, where Stephanie had called her mom and told her to meet me there because she didn't want me to be alone until everybody got into town. And I just changed because, I mean, for anyone who hasn't been in a situation like that, like, everything that is so minimal, like, I was still in my work clothes and I wore, like, khakis and a polo to work. But everything that's so minimal becomes such a big deal, so you don't have to think about anything else. So the fact that I was still in my work clothes became the biggest deal. Like, I had to go home. I had to change. I didn't want to be in my work clothes. I wanted to be comfy. Like, I had to change, and I had to look good for when people got here. And, I mean, that's just how I was. And so they asked me if I was okay to drive, and I said yeah. And I left and went home. And I kind of just waited till everybody got there. And the next day I went and planned the funeral. Well, her service. And, that was it. I honestly didn't really cry. I cried a little while planning the service. I cried on and off. Like, I would cry for like 5 minutes at a time because I was the next of kin. My parents were divorced. I was my mom's only child. So legally, and, she wanted it always this way anyways. Like, I was the one who had to take care of everything. I had to plan a service. I had to take care of the aftermath. Call everyone and let them know. I had to clean out the house. I had to do everything. And for the most part, like, I held it together. Like, I would cry for like 5 minutes at a time and then kind of move on and just let it be and go on. Because at the service I didn't cry, like, either. I let one tear roll down and I stopped it and I just sat there, and I think it's because in my mind, like, I don't like crying anyways, and I don't like putting my problems on people. So for me, it was, I'm just going to sit here, I'm going to be strong for everybody else has to deal with this, I can deal with it later. I had no other choice in my mind but to be, like, strong and keep it together and be there for everybody else and handle everything, because I had no other choice, like, nobody else could legally do the things I could do. No one could take care of the paperwork I had to take care of. It was all on me. So, if I broke down and didn't do it, nothing was going to get done, and we were never going to be able to move on with our lives. So I had to. And so that's what I did. And I just kind of kept it together. It wasn't till a week before Seneca passed away. Not even like a week, just I'd say like a week. That I finally broke down at the beginning of February. I finally just let it all out for like an hour, and then I moved on, and I was like, oh, I'm okay. Well, Monday of like, I guess like the first Monday of February, I would say, I was at my mom's with a friend, cleaning out her house, doing some last minute cleaning, and we had to get a washer out. And we needed pliers, so I looked at my friend Amanda and I said, well, I only like really know 2 people that live near her, because she lived in like these little duplexes. It was called like Loma Linda Villas, and the only 2 people I knew that lived there were Dustin and Seneca. And they were 2 blackjack dealers from the casino that knew my mom. Both came to her service. Like Dustin loved my mom. Like I remember him telling me last year that, like when we were like, I don't know, like right after the tornado, that he loved my mom and that she was the hardest working woman besides his grandma, and she was the hardest working woman in that casino. Like he adored her. My mom loved Dustin. And she loved Seneca. Like the first person she told me about when I started at the casino was Seneca. She's like, oh, Jessica, I was 30 years younger. Like that's what I remember. Like my first memory of Seneca was my mom's like description of him. It was hilarious. And I can't say that I didn't agree when I first met him, but that's beside the point. But yeah, like I remember Seneca texting me after the funeral, because I told him, like I invited him to lunch with the rest of us, and I remember him telling me that, he was going to miss my mom, he and Dustin both, and everything. And so we were staying there, and I was like, well, they're the only 2 I know. Let's go ask them if they have pliers. And the way their like place was set up, like they had 2 separate doors to their rooms, so we knocked on them both, and Seneca was the first to answer. And so we kind of stood there and joked and asked him if he had pliers, and kind of went back and forth, and he was very sarcastic. And I remember him saying something, and I kind of rolled my eyes and gave him a serious look and said, you're retarded. And he kind of like looked back at me and smiled and said, yeah, but at least I made you smile. And I was just like, whatever. And I kind of had something to tell him at the time, but I didn't. I figured I'd have time to tell him later on, and so I didn't. And I kind of just brushed it off, and I said, well, thank you, Seneca. I'll see you later. It was nice seeing you. Have a good night, because he told me, because we woke him up. And we went on, and I didn't think anything of it. That was, I believe, a Monday. That Saturday, I was supposed to go back over to my mom's, and I had planned on talking to him and telling him what I originally was going to tell him, but I didn't because Amanda was with me. And I never got the chance, because that Friday at 2 in the morning, around 2 in the morning, he was struck by a drunk driver. And when I say he was hit by a drunk driver, I don't mean he was driving his car and got hit. I mean he got hit while crossing the road by a drunk driver. And I remember that morning I was getting ready for work and to run errands, and my friend Grace texted me, and she said, did you hear about Seneca? And I immediately knew. And I said, no, don't tell me I can't handle any more bad news. And she said, just stay off Facebook and call me when you're ready. Of course, being me, I had to get on Facebook, and I saw what everyone was talking about, and I called her, and she told me, and I just immediately started crying. Like, I just couldn't believe it. It was 36 days exactly after my mother passed away, and it just kind of blew my mind